ever-increasing efficiency and ruthlessness, the credit card companies have been streamlining the ways they rob money out of your pocket, even if you never pull your card out of your pocket. And then this year came the little yelp of the embryonic Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the first slight blowback on behalf of the pinioned customer. In our third story, the GOP has revealed plans to smother the little critter in its not yet fully functioning bed, and with it, its leader, Elizabeth Warren. Wall Street Journal reporting that two House Republicans, Spencer Backus of Alabama and Judy Biggert of Illinois, are demanding rigorous oversight of the newly formed Bureau. Mr. Backus will likely replace Congressman Frank as the chair of the House Financial Services Committee, while Ms. Biggert is the top Republican on the panel's Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee. Both wrote letters to the Inspectors General, the Treasury Department, and the Federal Reserve, seeking information about the agenda and structure of the new Bureau, a prelude to one of those phony baloney investigations, the meat on which these, our Republicans, feed. Treasury is running the agency till it assumes its full powers in July. Ms. Warren, serving as a special advisor to President Obama, is charged with setting up the darn thing. Biggert and Backus criticizing the Treasury and Warren for not making certain information public, pointing to other financial regulators posting details of their meetings online, noting there is a clear absence of accountability and transparency. To date, we know very little about the activities being undertaken by the Treasury to establish the Bureau. The lawmakers also hint at examining Ms. Warren's every move, citing concern that Professor Warren will be approaching this task without any experience in managing or creating an organization of this scale and importance. Translation, she hasn't taken bribes from the credit card companies. The creation of the Bureau stemmed from the most significant reform of the financial services industry since the 30s. It will write and enforce regulations, police loans. In other words, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau will actually protect consumers and not the credit card companies, but not if the Republicans can help it. Time now to call in MSNBC contributor, Washington Post staff writer, and Newsweek columnist Ezra Klein. Ezra, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
When Republicans talk about business-friendly policies, is this what they mean here? You know, here business, let's get government out of the way so you can resume your assault on the customers?
When people talk about business-friendly policies, they tend to mean policies that CEOs and business trade corporations like. And this is probably one of those. Business did not like Elizabeth Warren from the beginning because Elizabeth Warren is not convinced that some of the things business does are good for consumers. So they can't get rid of the CFPB. It's popular and they don't have the votes for it. But they can make its life very miserable. And when you make an agency's life very miserable, you also make it less effective. You can tie up the employees, making them bring documents and making them go to 1 million hearings. You can do a lot to hamper its effectiveness simply by making everybody very busy answering your questions and requests.
And I guess you started on this. Flesh this out. Why particularly is Liz Warren in a very nascent, just getting started agency? Why are they the sort of high-profile targets?
Well, Elizabeth Warren is high profile, and so is the CFPB. One of the things you want to do at the beginning of an agency is that you set it on its path for a very long time. If the CFPB comes out of the gate and does a great job, is very powerful, attracts wonderful talent from all over the consumer finance and consumer protection sort of sectors, and if they turn out to be quite effective, that's going to be a legacy that future members of the CFPB will live up to. If, on the other hand, from the beginning the agency is neutered, if people like Warren are kept from doing their jobs well, if they're kept from attracting good talent, and if early on the people there can't establish the correct relationship they need to get the sort of members of the business community they regulate, not necessarily to fear them, but to at least respect their autonomy and power to regulate them, then it's not going to be effective going forward. So getting the agency off on the right foot is important to the people who are for it, and getting it off on the wrong foot is important to the people who are against it. A
Democratic Senate and a Democratic White House can probably prevent the Republicans in the House from making those major changes backwards and overhauling and retrograding on financial regulation. So the likeliest outcome is just these stalling techniques of the hearings, or do they look to defund in the House, or what?
I doubt you're going to see anything like defunding. You're going to see a lot of hearings, and right now in the House it's going to be the Republican approach on a lot of things. It's going to be the Republican approach on health care, which may see some defunding, but is probably just going to see a ton of hearings. It's going to be the Republican approach on the entire Barack Obama administration. The nature of minority parties is that when they become, or majority parties have become minority parties, is that when you get into the majority, you suddenly get very interested in hearings and oversight and getting people to testify before you, where, you know, in the Bush years for Republicans and certainly the Obama years for Democrats, there was less of that type of suspicion being expressed in the House Investigations Committee. So if the only power right now Republicans have is to make the life of Obama appointees miserable, then the life of Obama appointees is going to be miserable for a little while.
Huge corporations spent millions on the intent of flipping the House. They succeeded in that. Did they anticipate that the investment would pay off quite this quickly, and is this exactly what they bought?
The corporations had spent, and certainly towards the end of the election, we saw Wall Street shift very, very strongly towards the GOP. They wanted to see their autonomy protected. They don't want to be more heavily regulated. They don't want people interfering with their business. They don't want to be told their ways of making money off of credit card consumers are no longer to be allowed. So this is the sort of thing they were hoping for, certainly. They were hoping to have a friendlier ear in Congress, and certainly on this particular issue, they now have one.
The Washington Post's Ezra Klein, also of MSNBC, of course. Thank you, Ezra. Great thanks.
Thank you.